Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Married and Bored podcast.
Woohoo!
We are up to episode 53. 53. Close. Getting closer and closer to my age.
Oh, yes. Further and further away.
We hope everyone is enjoying their week. We've had a fantastic week.
Yes.
Here in
Arizona.
What
have we done?
So much.
Okay.
It's a holiday weekend. We swam,
yes.
or the kids swam like 6 times this weekend.
Yes.
We watched and sweated.
Yeah, well, I don't know why we didn't just dip our feet in the water.
Yeah, I mean, we ate tacos.
That is not a cool activity.
And pizza.
Pizza.
Not at the same party, at different parties.
Yes.
We hope everyone is enjoying their 3-day weekend at the time of this recording. You know how it is.
Yes. Or if you're not in the United States.
That's
you
true.
might not have Labor Day.
Happy Normal Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, we hope everyone played some games. What games did you play? We'll talk about a couple of the games we played this weekend.
Yes.
We're talking about the big game of the episode, Ark Nova. Probably,
Yes.
I don't know, one of the most popular games of the last year, would you say?
I would say. If my Instagram feed is any indication.
Yeah, that's true. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
But why don't we just start this episode like we normally do and just see what's been going on with us? What is up with you, Angela?
Okay, well, I should say Christian is preparing for a work little team retreat this week. And so I have been contemplating what games I should bust out to have a solo experience.
Little solo sesh?
Yeah. And if you are new to this podcast, I am the solo player in this relationship. Christian has only attempted one game solo.
Just dabbled. I don't even remember what it was.
It was Arkham Horror.
Yep.
And you said you forgot so many rules.
Mm-hmm. I was like, why do I have 32 currency?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have that much. I did something wrong.
Yeah. So you just don't like running the game by yourself.
No, especially a game like that. I think in this one that we're going to talk about, Ark Nova, I think I could maybe do that.
Yes. So anyway, I have been thinking of, what games either have I never played solo or have I taken a long break from playing solo. So I've got a little list in my head.
What's on your list? So we did do the solo episode at the beginning
Yes.
of that of our podcast life.
Well, I think it was quarantine.
In our infancy.
Yeah. Within the
and we
first
talked
year,
about
maybe.
Marvel Champions, of course. Do you remember Everdell? I think we talked about.
Yep, I talked about Abomination because they
a
had
lot.
just released the extra directions. I don't know
Yeah. So obviously you want to revisit those, probably. But then what are some of the newer ones that you're hoping to dive into?
Well, you mentioned Outer Rim, which I always forget is solo because there's certain games I know in my mind as solo.
Yeah.
Like, That's So Clever and Falling Skies and the Roll and Rights and any of the Stonemaier games. I just know they
have a good solo experience.
Yes. But I just never think of Outer Rim as solo because we've never played it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe that one will come into play. There's also Gollum, which you do not enjoy as much.
Well, to be fair, I played it twice.
I think once fully through.
Yeah, and it was just a lot at the time.
Yeah.
It's still a lot.
It's still a lot. I'm also noticing out of the corner of my eye in this secondary game room of ours, the Spirit Island box.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good solo experience.
Everyone loves that game solo.
Right.
Yes.
There's also Stardew Valley, and yeah, I am excited to see what I play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what you've done whilst I've been gone.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? What's up with you?
Well, we have a work retreat for the week, trying to get away from, the regular grind, hustle and bustle, going up to the mountains here in Arizona. So I am bringing a few games. There's like 10 of us, or 10 to 13, I don't know, depending on who shows up.
Is it optional?
No, it's not optional,
Okay.
but there's usually like extras and stragglers and
Okay.
and so I'm bringing some smaller games. I'm bringing Long Shot, the horse racing game.
Yeah.
Bringing
Marvel Remix, right?
Marvel Remix, which is a new one that we got from Gen Con, which is like based on fantasy realms. It's really fun, really quick. And then one of my friends requested Unfathomable, so I'll bring that as well.
Yeah.
And with no expectations of playing any of these.
But maybe a little expectation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bringing them, so it can't go to waste.
I would be so disappointed if I brought games somewhere and didn't get to play them.
Well, last year I brought a full tote of games.
That's
like
true.
I brought like probably 6 games, and we played maybe 2 of them. So I cut it way down, and I also made it sure that the rules in the games we're playing are quicker and can accommodate more people.
Okay. So there can maybe be more opportunities to fit one in, or...
Yeah, and then there's a lot of guys on our team that aren't really board gamers.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've got a couple social deduction games, which we talked about last episode.
Yep.
So we're going to hopefully try those, because I think we can get up to 10 in the ones that I'm bringing. So
Nice.
looking forward to that.
I will look forward to hearing what you have played.
I was going to ask you, too, not to throw it back at you, but solo games.
Uh-huh.
We're still waiting and excited for...
Final Girl?
Final Girl. I was going to say Last Girl. But that's still coming.
Yes,
That's
I
one of
know.
the ultimate...
I wish that it were here during your week of absence.
Yeah. And then also, the big buzz on Instagram and Twitter, and even at Gen Con, was the Chip Theory game. I don't even know how to say it. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Hoplamopolis Victorum, or something like that.
I don't even know. I have never heard of this game.
But it's a game by Chip Theories, which they do Too Many Bones.
Yes.
Which is, people love that one solo.
Burn Cycle.
Burn Cycle.
Is this the one that had the swords?
Yeah, so that was the big
yes.
news, is that they sent out swords to influencers.
I don't know why we didn't receive our swords.
I know why.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
We are very angry about that.
no, but like that. What I didn't realize about this game, probably why they didn't send us a sword, because I know nothing about it, is that it is a solo game
Only.
only.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like Roman gladiator style.
Okay.
And for those who know what Slay the Spire is, it's a computer game, card game. They say it kind of feels like that in a board game, which I'm interested in, but even more interested in it now that they sent the swords. I think the swords did a really good thing, is they got people interested in something that they might not have been interested in before.
Yeah.
So, like...
I mean, they're pretty cool.
They are. And
I didn't understand what you were telling me at first. I was like, oh, so they got sent like a sword, like meeple sized, or like...
Yeah. Or like a 3D printed sword that's like 6 inches long.
Yeah, or like, then you said like, no, like a sword. And I'm like, oh, like it's the size of a real sword, but it's like plastic. And then he's like, no, like a sword. And I was like, swords are huge and heavy. He's like, you need to watch these videos.
Yeah, so we saw a few videos of the influencers who got them, and it's pretty impressive. It's like it's a big deal. It's a big thing for a company to send all that out. And they even had issues. They admittedly said they had issues sending them internationally, which makes sense. Yeah, like people in Canada can't receive them. There's a few that they sent, and maybe even to Great Britain. Like they just couldn't get their swords.
Shoot.
So they're working on ways to figure that out.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the lucky few who got swords, I guess they're coming. So
there you go.
But yeah, that's a solo game that I'm more interested in now. I think the social media buzz, the swords helped, I don't want to pay the money to play this game because it is very expensive.
Right.
It's chip theory game, which everything is super high quality and you get what you pay for. But like $150 for a solo game?
Well, and right now you're just coming off having brought 11 new games home.
Totally.
So it's just hitting at the wrong time for us.
Very true. If there was no such thing as Gen Con this year for us, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd be a little closer to purchasing that.
Totally.
But at least at this moment in time, not now.
And last spring we dropped a pretty penny on Final Girl.
We did get Final Girl.
And that's a solo only experience, so
yeah. But we wanted it all. And so we got it all.
Right.
A pretty penny.
Pretty penny.
But another thing I wanted to chat about is our favorite game probably.
Wait, your What's Up segment is still not done?
It's not done. There's so much
Oh my gosh. Buckle up, everyone.
Is our favorite game Marvel Champions.
Oh, yes.
And we all know X-Men Mutant Genesis is coming at the end of this month. So in the next couple of weeks, we should have that. I do not doubt that we'll have an episode. Reviewing and chatting about the new heroes and villains and doing all that. So look forward to that. But Fantasy Fight released an interesting article, and they have a contest for Marvel Champions. And it is called Infinite Possibilities is the article on their website. And they're asking the community to create their own campaign.
With the already existing encounter sets.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Everything up to Sinister Motives.
Okay.
And up to...
Through Sinister Motives, right?
Yeah, through. Sorry.
Okay.
Anything that's currently out now, basically.
Okay.
X-Men, any X-Men doesn't count.
Okay.
So, but anything before X-Men.
Got it.
BX.
And then so you're creating the campaign. You're not necessarily playing it.
Well, you can. I mean, you probably should see if it works and flows well. But
they don't need to hear about what heroes you played or...
Well, they said there's rules in it, and it's interesting. You can make rules that are like no mystic heroes or stuff like that. So it's just kind of interesting. You have to create a campaign document, kind of like the books that you get in the little campaign packs.
Well, that makes me happy.
You don't have to do a comic.
Well, that's nice.
Because they do kind of tell a story and have the comic book there. But I'm not super into like creating games, but it's always something that I wish I were good at, and this seems like good practice.
Yeah.
So I might take a crack at it and just...
Might flex those muscles a little bit?
Yeah, I just kind of see what fun stories that you could tell with the villains who are currently out there and linking them between...
Yeah, to tell, like you said, a good story.
Yeah.
And when does it close?
So it opened at the beginning of February 1st.
No, you mean September.
Did I say February?
You did.
What is going on?
I think you're thinking of your birthday.
I'm always thinking of my birthday.
His birth month is February.
September 1st, and then it ends on the 22nd.
Okay.
So it's pretty short. It's like 3 weeks. But yeah, I'm interested. I mean, the odds of me submitting one is probably small. I think I'll just try and play around with it. But I am also very interested in seeing what the finalists are.
Yeah.
So go check that out on Fantasy Flight's site. And if you're interested in it should be good.
Yes.
And I think that ends my section of what's up.
Wow, that was very thorough.
Yeah. And then much like the length of my What's Up segment, this next game we're talking about today, Ark Nova, is big in almost every sense of the word.
Yeah.
When you think big board games, this kind of checks all the boxes in some weird way.
Yes. So we'll be right back to talk about Ark Nova.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Before we get started, I just want to settle in.
Oh, that is not a sound effect. That is an actual drink being opened. Christian, what are you settling down to drink?
Well, let's let everyone guess.
Okay, first caller.
No, this is Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda Zero.
Nice.
I love Dr. Pepper. Fun fact, I registered for Dr. Pepper on our wedding registry.
Yes, you did.
And I got so much Dr. Pepper, I didn't have to buy it for about 13 months.
Yeah, it was the one thing that people knew you had it registered for. You had a say in other things, but nobody knew, like, oh, does Christian really want this blender, or does Angela?
And it was in a way, it was kind of genius because people would be like, oh, this set of mixing bowls is $22. And a 12 pack of Dr. Pepper is $4.
Yep.
So it's like, I'll just get that because it's cheap. So it was just kind of funny that I got tons of it.
That's funny.
But anyway, so Ark Nova, Angela, do you want to jump in and tell us a little bit about this game?
Yes. So Ark Nova is a game for 1 to 4 players. I've been playing it solo, so I should not
you should know.
I should not have flubbed on that. And players are going to take the role of building a zoo, getting sponsors for the zoo, supporting conservation projects. You're going to do this through 5 action cards that are below your board. Build, animals, association, sponsors, and cards. And then you're going to try to get your conservation track and your appeal track of your zoo to cross. And one side of the board has the conservation, one side has the appeal, and you're going to try to get them to overlap.
Yeah, they're moving in opposite directions.
Yes.
And so they don't counter each other, but like they move in opposite. It's really weird to try to explain it unless you see it.
Right.
And so they're moving in opposite directions. As you're getting higher in one, it looks like you're getting lower in the other, but it doesn't matter because they're 2 separate tracks.
Yes.
And so once your pawn on each of those tracks crosses each other, it triggers the end of the game.
So you want the biggest amount of overlap, is
Yes.
I guess how you would describe it.
That's how you get that's how you win.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's a big boy. Are you ready to?
It's a big boy.
Ready to unpack it?
Well, one thing I want to ask you about Ark Nova before we even get started.
Yeah.
I don't understand the name. I understand Ark, like in a way, like Noah's Ark in a way.
Yeah.
But what is what is Ark Nova?
I was gonna look this up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just interesting.
That's what I thought of. You know,
Yeah.
Ark, like Noah's Ark.
yeah.
Like the
Animals. Yeah.
But I don't know. Nova, not sure.
No, I'm just curious. It's just I get the game is its name now, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're so worried about naming a child, and it's like, what if it doesn't look like a Tony? And
It just becomes a
And
Tony.
then it's just Tony.
Yeah. So this is just become Ark Nova.
If you know
now.
why it's named that, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did extensive research before the recording.
Well, not on the name origin. I'm sorry.
This was one that we had our eye on for a very long time because it is popular.
Yes.
I picked it up at Gen Con.
Yep.
And I was able to actually get a promo pack too, which we'll talk about later, which is very fun. So let's jump into it.
Without further ado.
Setting up and tearing down Ark Nova. What are your initial reactions?
It's medium.
Medium?
To medium hard, maybe.
Okay.
It's not a super quick setup. There's a lot going on. It's a huge presence on the table.
It's, the board, I want to guess, is like 3 feet long.
I mean, we should probably have our son lay on the ground next
See
to the
if
board.
it's taller than him.
The board is humongous. And then everyone gets an individual zoo map.
Yeah, like a little hex tile zoo map.
Yep. And then there's also a secondary community board.
Yes. Yep.
That supports the association tasks or the conservation projects.
The sciencey things.
Yeah. And so there's a big play area required. And I don't think it's a horrible setup and teardown, but I do think it's medium.
Medium's good. Just, I would say, for the fact that there's a lot of stuff. There's
Yeah.
over like 250 cards
Yeah.
or something in this game. And so like, I always get stuck. I just kind of volunteer and shuffle them all. And so I'm like dividing them into like 6 half decks and shuffling and then mixing and then shuffling and mixing.
Yes.
And so that takes time. And then there's a lot of like little cubes that need to go places. But I think one thing that it does well is it does come with some storage.
Yes, it comes with 2 trays for I think the tiniest tokens, right?
Yeah,
and
like the hex pieces for all your zoo encounters and the money and all the other stuff you can build.
Yes. I would probably, for us, be open to investing in even more organization for this game.
Oh, really?
But I don't think it's one of those games where it's like you open the box and it's just like everywhere. So there is storage.
Yeah, they were generous. They're covered storage bins.
Yes.
So that's super nice. Everything does have a place. It doesn't fit all the pieces though, which is kind of funny.
There is annoying.
Some leftover enclosure pieces that you just can't fit in the supplied bins.
And it makes sense if you play it at 4-player why you need all those pieces.
Yes.
But, for solo and 2-player, which is what we've been doing, we don't need all those pieces. So it's like, in our perspective, it's like, why do we need this extra storage bag?
Yeah.
But I know why. If you play with more than 2, you might need it.
Yeah, and so like, I guess if you're into this game and it's something that you've invested in, like, why not, if you still support Broken Token, go check them out. Or
Space?
we've really been a fan of Folded Space.
Yeah.
And theirs is more like not punch board, but it's like foam board. Mm-hmm. It's really light. It's easy to put together. We have a couple of those. We have one for Arnok.
Yep.
And I actually just ordered one for Outer Rim. So
that's right.
That should be here soon too. So definitely look into those. I think it will help keep everything contained and make that setup and tear down just that much faster.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because putting it away is a chore too, because you have all the pieces out, like
yes,
obviously, but there's so many different pieces you could have.
Well, and they're not in like one designated section. It's not like you can just scoop all the cardboard pieces
into one spot.
Yeah, so it's like there's
different
meeples over here, and somebody grab all the meeples, and then somebody grab all the cardboard shit.
And then there's size 3 cardboards and size 4 cardboards.
Yeah.
And you got to put them in the right place.
Yes, because otherwise your next time playing will be horrible.
Yeah.
I will say to take this out and play solo, I'm going to leave it set up for a while.
Yeah, which you did last week.
Yeah,
it was up
because
for days.
It's a hardy game to set up when you're the only one setting it up.
And that's kind of my opinion on most solo games. Like, why do I want to set this up just for me?
Right.
That seems boring when I can just turn on a PlayStation.
Oh, there's... Okay, so I guess this segues well into like the accessibility of the game. I think just by virtue of what it looks like, it's intimidating. Yeah.
Visually.
Yes.
If you had this set up on our table and someone came over and was like, "Oh, what are you playing?" You'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's an animal about games. It's a game about animals and zoos." And by the looks of it, people would just be like, "Yeah, no,
it looks too hard. It just looks like daunting, right?"
It does.
And I even think the rule book looks daunting, just because I don't know. Maybe the format of it just looks more like a textbook.
It's very textbooky. It's almost like the same shape as one, too.
Yes. So if you are introducing this to non-gamers, I would be aware that this is going to be...
Let them know what they're getting into.
Yes. But I would say the good news for gamers like us, and probably you if you're listening, is that it's not as intimidating as it looks.
No, it's the action system that they built is very, I don't know it's not intuitive or simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those things.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
and how
I would say
simple
that.
it actually is.
That's a good word. I would say the game is simple, not easy, but simple.
No, because you're presented every turn
With 5
to
choices.
5 choices, and it's like a ranked choice. So depending on how you have them laid out, one of your actions could be more powerful. Mm-hmm. And then once you use that action at say the highest power, which is 5, it moves down to the lowest power, and everything else slides up. And so you have to kind of manage, like, okay, so I want to do this at this power, but I can't for 2 more turns because I have to move it up.
Yes. So what can I do in the meantime?
Yeah.
And I like...
There's a lot of fun decisions going on.
Yeah. I think that the theme, I guess you could say, like zoos, animals, is accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
So that's got it going for it. I just think even the cards have a lot of numbers and symbols and look intimidating.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is realizing the iconography of what everything means.
Right.
And even the placement of them on cards is important.
Yes.
Because ones on the left don't matter, or
left is requirements.
Yeah.
Top right
is achievements.
Achievement.
Kind of,
yeah. So now that we're used to that, it's hard for our eyes to see it as intimidating, but I remember seeing cards on our Instagram or even when you sent pictures at Gen Con, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a long one to learn.
Well, even now, there's a couple cards that will pop out and be like, so does this count
Yeah.
for my, monkeys?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it doesn't. It's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of forget. Because in a way, there's a lot going on. A lot of connect the dot style stuff where it's like, because I have this, I get this and get this.
Yes.
So knowing what you have in front of you is important.
Yes. And I would say I don't love how the rule book doesn't have certain things. You have to go to the what do they call it?
Glossary.
The glossary, like a separate.
It's like a reference.
Yeah.
Which we normally enjoy.
Right, but it's not intuitive for me because it's not like Fantasy Flight,
Okay,
which was the first ones I ever did. So that's all that to say is I would not bring this out around our non-gaming friends.
No.
But I would reassure anyone who's used to modern board games that, hey, this looks like it's going to be hard to learn. It is not hard to learn.
Yeah, I mean, there are some non-gaming friends or semi-gamers that I would easily introduce this to.
Oh, okay, you would.
I think I would.
Okay.
I think it's the first time, and they even said this at Gen Con at the thing I went to, it's going to be a long experience.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3 hours. And once you have it done, then each game after that is just that much quicker.
Right.
Like you and I played a game the other night in about, what?
An hour?
Hour and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
Hour 20.
Well, yeah, we take coffee breaks.
You got to take coffee breaks. You got to coffee
cookie,
and
candy.
Dr. Pepper Zeros, whatever.
But if we sat down and were hardcore about it, it was probably only an hour.
Sure.
How well do you think it builds the world that it lives in?
I think it's really good at what it does. I mean, it's fun to build your zoo, and there's a very Tetris-y visual aspect to that, so that helps
The
me.
spatial,
Yeah. Have fun with that, and it's always fun to just draw an animal, and you're like, yeah,
I want that animal in my zoo.
Siberian tiger, and you're just like, oh, this is such a cool animal, but it doesn't really I don't have room for it, or it doesn't really help with the other cards I have, and so it's
Right.
well, I just want it because it's cool,
Right.
I think that's fun.
Yeah, and it just dawned on me the other day, speaking of the theme, is that I've just been thinking of the 2 tracks, the conservation track and the appeal track that we talked about earlier, are on separate sides of the board, and you try to get them to meet. I've just thought of them as 2 points trackers. But now it occurred to me, in the theme, is that every animal gives you more appeal. So your zoo is more appealing.
Yes.
And then so you want your you want the appeal of your zoo to be going one way, and you want your conservation efforts to be going the other way.
Right.
So that's interesting. I like that. So you could just play, I really want to play this Siberian tiger. It has nothing to do with the goals I'm trying to go for, but it's just appealing. And so you get...
That's true. It does give you a lot of appeal. Mm-hmm. You pay for it, but it helps in the long run.
I think it lives well in the world it's trying to create, too. It does make you feel like you're... I love flipping an enclosure to an occupied side and being like, oh, there's an animal in there now.
Or the opposite, because you can release them to the wild.
That's right. So you can support releasing an animal into the wild. I don't know. How do you feel about like the theme of like the sponsors?
Sponsors is, I don't really, it's hard to connect that sometimes. The sponsor is more like the science of it all. You know what I mean? So it's just like, or the admin of running a zoo.
Right.
So it's like, you need to have biologists on staff. Mm-hmm. Or specialists in herbivores.
Mm-hmm. Or an archaeologist.
And so like, so I get it. It's just probably the least connected to me.
Yeah. Maybe the least connected thematically because... Well, I've never ran a zoo. No. So that's the part you don't see, right?
We bought a zoo.
Hey, good reference. That's the part as a spectator, you like go to the zoo, see the enclosures and the animals. You don't see all the sponsors and behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and are most zoos not private? Like, are they like government funded or... privately I don't know. Like, that's why they're maybe called sponsors.
Right.
People need to donate to the zoo.
Right. So, it does give you, I guess that maybe makes sense. Like, it does give you end game bonuses if you have certain things that the sponsor wants. Mm-hmm. So, that's interesting. It can also give you special types of enclosures.
Yeah, it's like I'm donating money to your monkey enclosure. Mm-hmm. And then from then on out, you get bonuses for every monkey you play into your zoo.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Now that we talk about it, it kind of makes more and more sense.
Right. Yeah. I guess we just never thought through the theme with the sponsors.
Yeah.
So there's conservation cards. Which
what about those? Like, how do you feel those fit in?
Yeah, I feel like those fit in really well thematically because you're supporting... So there's base conservation projects, which just means that they don't get shuffled into the regular deck, and they're there from the start of the game.
Yeah, they're just the game way to score more points.
Yes, but then there's also conservation projects that get shuffled into the deck with the same card back as the animals and the sponsors. And those can be played from your hand as another conservation project that you and other people at the table can support. And those ones make a lot of sense to me. Like release a predator into the wild, and so you get conservation points for that.
Yeah.
The base conservation projects, maybe just a looser theme connection. I don't know.
It's more there to score points for the whole game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it does do a good job overall of living in the world it's trying to create, this game.
No, it's really good.
Makes you feel like you're buying a zoo. Okay. Is it fun, Christian?
I think it's fun. Yeah, I think the best parts for me are playing the individual Tetris game. Mm-hmm. The Hexatetris. And it's fun because each of your zoo maps that you use, once you have bonuses that you can cover up, and once you cover them up, you get that bonus. So you can get extra money, you can get extra science meeples, you can get extra cards, stuff like that. So that's fun to try to do, all while making sure everything is connected. So you can't just have like a bear enclosure over here and then fish on the other side, like they have to touch.
Yes.
So that's fun. And then like I touched earlier with the tiger, just cool animals.
Yeah.
And trying to get them into my zoo.
Just being like, there's something about discarding an animal that is cool, even though you know it's not going to fit in your zoo. It does nothing for you. but you're just like, I really don't want to discard this.
That the last time I played, I had this like grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Which I hate bears. But I just had the card and I was like, this is cool. And I
was
did
cool.
everything in my power to play it.
And you did.
And I played it and it was awesome. And then luckily I drew one of those conservation cards that connected the bear. So I was able to like combo a few things off that bear eventually. So it didn't go to waste, but it did take a couple turns to like ramp up to this expensive grizzly bear.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about why it's fun for me. I guess piggybacking off what you said, the combos, I love when it does that. So when either your animals and the conservation projects match up, or sometimes like you'll move ahead on this track, which will allow you to basically upgrade a card, which will then allow you to do this, and or there's different combos on your board. So I build an enclosure here, which covers up this space, which allows me to do this, which moves my conservation marker, which then allows me to do this.
There's a lot of triggers.
I like that. I like that.
Queue up if you do it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also like that there's not, at least in my opinion, I mean, if you disagree, please let me know, but there's not a one strategy to play. Like, you go in and this has to be your first move. And this has to be, your second move. I think it's very much like you're going to fail if you don't play what the deck is giving you.
Yes.
Or what the board is set up for.
Yeah, that's very true. Because in a 2-player game, I think of the 200 or so cards, I think we might see 60.
Yeah, maybe.
70-ish.
It does refresh, but only by 2.
Yeah.
And people can snap from the display.
You can draw cards, but you're not going to see a majority of the cards are still not seen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if you're looking for a specific grizzly bear or monkey, like the odds of you finding it are not high.
No.
Especially in 2 players.
Right.
So you just kind of have to go with what you have in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it.
Me too.
There is a lot of planning that has to happen, but maybe not as much as some other games like a lot of the other worker placement games.
Right. I just like that when you're starting the game, I think it's super fun to like look at what you have your end game goal, because you get dealt 2 end game
That's right.
goals, and you have to eventually discard one of them. So at the start of the game, you're like, you get dealt 2 of these, and maybe one of them is getting points for having small animals. So then my head immediately switches to, okay, we're going to have a bunch of small animals at my zoo.
Yep.
And then I look at the conservation projects, and then I try to form my board around that. And also the zoo maps have different bonuses. So then you try to form your game plan around hitting all the bonuses on your map. I think it's really fun. And it's also challenging.
Yes.
So,
Because that small zoo goal you have, small animal zoo, every card you draw is not a small animal.
no.
And so now you're like, well, what do I do? Do I hold out for small animals, or do I have to adjust and pivot to a new strategy?
Yes. And it's not like you get a bonus for every small animal. You like have to
No.
You have to get quite a few small animals in your zoo to make it worth it. So I think it's fun, and on a base level, like just getting animals and flipping over enclosures, and that's fun, but then also like the deeper strategy is challenging and fun for me.
Very much.
All right. Well, you can probably guess, guys. Is it worth it for us?
Is it?
Yes. No, there's just so much. There's how many zoo maps? 10?
I think there's 10 with the bonus ones that I got at Gen Con.
Okay, and they have the bonus ones are double-sided, and the other ones are double-sided, except one side is always the starter.
There's a beginner map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's zoo map choices. There's, again, over 250
so
cards.
So many cards.
Each game is going to be different. Your game plan is going to be different, and so and it's going to be influenced by the other people around the table. So it's not going to be the same game over and over and over. We've talked previously about certain games that people think have like one strategy and that's it, like Dune Imperium. And so maybe like
or
that.
Arnok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it gets, if you're playing with a certain person, they always do the same thing every single time, and that gets monotonous. So this one, I don't think you'll see the same play.
No, it's like Wingspan. Like I love drawing cards in Wingspan, but like if the birds don't have that option, I'm not gonna. It would be foolish,
to force it.
To force it.
Yeah.
Even though that's my favorite thing to do in that game.
Yeah.
I would just set myself up to fail. So like speaking of birds, like the first time we played it, I went like bird heavy in my zoo because of every card I drew had to do with birds. Every time you play a bird, get $1. Every time someone else plays a birds, do this. And I had just so many birds, which was good. I think I maybe won that game. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't remember now.
But I had just birds everywhere, and it just it was good in that area, but it also hurt me in others because I wasn't able to do the other things.
Yeah.
I went pretty heavy into birds.
Well, hey, they were working for you, and that's what you were drawing.
So that was the choice I made.
Yes. So it's definitely worth it for us. And you just add on to that it can be a solo experience for me when you're not into playing a game, or when you're away on a work retreat. I can play it. The solo experience is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just if you are a solo player or sometimes are a solo player, it's a great experience. I feel like, not that I'm opposed to this, but you know how sometimes you have to run
like a checklist of things to do?
Or more like a separate player.
Oh.
Like you have to run an Automa.
Like a computer player.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to that. Like Stonemaier games.
Yeah.
There's Automas there.
I think Autorim has that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one you don't have to run a ghost player.
So it's like a race against the clock?
It's a race against the clock.
Okay.
To try to get a score of 0.
That's interesting.
Or I should say a positive score.
A positive score. Because the way the tracks work.
Yes.
You get negative, and that's not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting too, that this game, your score can be negative. So, and it seems simple, like, oh, you're just, as a solo player, all you have to do is score 0 or higher.
It's like, I can do that.
It is not easy. Because it's, again, a race against the clock. But it's definitely for us.
Yeah. And if you already have this game and you're looking for like next steps, the map pack that I was able to get at Gen Con as a promo, they're going to sell that on their website. So if you played all the maps tons of times, they're going to sell that on their website. And you got to think that they're going to do more. They just seem so easy, and it's like $10 for new maps. So that's awesome. And they did announce recently that they're working on a new expansion, which they did say at the event that they're hoping to have it out in the first quarter of 2023.
Okay.
And it would be a pretty big box, they said. They're going to do, it's called Aquarius. Is that right?
So it's oceans.
Yeah, so it's a lot of water animals.
Yes.
And stuff to do with aquatic stuff.
Okay.
And I think they're going to, one thing that I remember them saying is they're going to address the amount of cards that are seen throughout the game.
Okay.
And so there's going to be mechanics where if you turn over a card and it has a specific icon, you turn over another card. And so you kind of shuffle through the deck more.
Quicker.
Which is great because you get to find those cards that you want to help your individual goals.
Yes.
And there's going to be upgraded actions. They mentioned like a draft system to draft upgraded action cards. So maybe my build action is different than yours.
Okay. Because right now they're the same.
They're the same, upgraded or non. Exactly the same. So maybe mine's different in some way. They didn't really go into much detail, but they did say that, and they showed some pictures of some animals. And, of course, you have, like, whales and...
Yes. The orca is on the front, right? The killer
yeah,
whale.
and I think they even said, like, reefs, like coral and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
It'll be interesting. I think obviously we're going to be very interested.
Yes. This game is better than I thought.
Yeah, I think it's one of the surprises for sure for us in 2022.
I mean, I wanted it. I was in the hype. So
Yes.
it's not like I thought it was going to be bad. It has surpassed my...
I like it way more than I did, but I don't think
Expectations.
my hype was as big as yours.
No, that's
I
true.
was just like, well, it's another game. I'll probably lose that against Angela, which is true. So far, I have lost pretty spectacularly
And I've lost pretty spectacularly solo.
to yourself.
Yes.
Well, that's not fun. But I always, at least in this one, I feel like I get close. The last
Yeah.
game we played, I was like, dude, I got this. And then
I thought you did.
and then you're like, oh wait, I got 62 points from my end of scores.
Which is impossible, by the way.
No, that was just frustrating because I thought I had it, and then you're like, wait, I get a bunch of points for doing this, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
you didn't.
My end of game triggers just
Were triggering to me.
triggered you.
My grizzly bear was going to bring me to victory, and it
You
didn't.
released him into the wild,
I know.
and so he
I had
wasn't
so
there
many
to bring
combos
you.
ready to go, and then
There's no dice.
no dice. There is no dice in this game,
No, but you were very close.
I know.
Very close.
and I want to beat you
Okay.
at this game.
So that is Christian's replayability. He will replay it until he can beat me.
I am frustrated that I've lost as many times as I have, but I also don't feel defeated in this one.
Good.
Other games, I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Like Dune Imperium or Abomination.
Yeah.
I don't like losing those at all.
Well, no, I don't either.
But this one, I've lost multiple times, and I don't feel as bad because I do have fun playing it. And I feel like it's close,
Okay.
even though it may not look like it's close.
It does.
I mean, I triggered the end of game many times, and I still lose. And I think maybe that's what frustrates me too.
Okay.
It's like, I did it. I was the first one to trigger end of game.
But
And
doesn't
it-
mean you win.
And you're like, I have 32 monkeys, and then if you get bananas, you multiply it by 3, and
You're going to confuse everyone.
that's not how it works. But you get it.
Oh, okay.
Anything else you want to say about Ark Nova?
It's a wonderful game.
It's really fun if you
Go
like
out and get
animals. If you want maybe a lighter version of this, New York Zoo, it's kind of similar. It's by the
Not,
same
not mechanically.
No,
just
but it's like animals
thematically.
and zoo-ish kind of stuff. You do have a little board.
Tetrisy.
Tetrisy, yep. Polynomials.
Polynomials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Busting out some math terms.
Is that the right math term?
No.
Oh, polyhedrons.
Polygons?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But New York Zoo is by the same company, and it's got similar vibes. So
Yeah.
if you're like, well, Ark Nova seems intense, New York Zoo, which we have,
Yeah.
it's got the same vibes.
Yeah. It's got the same vibes. All right. We'll be right back to wrap up this talk about Ark Nova. This episode is sponsored by Showit. Are you stuck in a boring website template? Maybe you don't even know where to start. Experience the true creative freedom with the drag and drop simplicity of a Showit website. Our website, marriedandboard.com, is a Showit website, and we love how simple it is to create. Get started for free at showit.co. You won't be disappointed.
All right, guys, as we wrap up the show, we wanted to talk about Ark Nova again. No, we hope you enjoyed our chat about Ark Nova. And if you have any questions about it or just want to chat about it to us, reach out.
If you know what Ark Nova means.
Yes, we're always here.
We are
to
always
listen.
here.
But we mentioned it earlier, Ark Nova surprised us in many ways. It was it's my most surprising one so far.
For you, especially.
I was not going into it. I was thinking no,
Yeah.
it's going to be okay. But I actually have a good time throughout
Yeah.
playing this, which is, I don't know, for me, it's rare. I feel like once I know I'm going to lose, it's just like, done.
Right. Well, I feel
I don't
like...
quit, but you know what I mean? Like the fun factor goes way down.
Yes. I feel like there's never a moment where I for sure know I'm losing or winning because there's so many things that can happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, we wanted to just maybe mention a few other games that have also surprised us. Mm-hmm. Because maybe we didn't talk about them on the show, or maybe we did and we just want to give them another, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
So do you have any that, or one for now that comes to mind where you're like, you know what, I didn't like it at the beginning, now I do, or I knew nothing about it and it's one of my favorites.
Right.
Something like that.
So a little bit of a roller coaster of the surprise was Fort for me.
Oh.
Because it was so hyped.
Maybe
right?
Mostly by me.
Well, and just, yeah, it was very hyped for us in our house.
Yeah.
We got it. And I think we both felt it was okay.
Yeah.
But then about a year later, we started playing it again. We got the Cats and Dogs expansion.
Cats and Dogs.
And now it's like, oh, this is a good game.
It's very good.
So that has done the roller coaster of surprise
Yeah.
for me.
And I don't think Cats and Dogs changed our, like, it wasn't Cats and Dogs.
No, sorry.
It was just revisiting.
That's just what made us play it again.
Exactly.
Because we're like, we're going to get the expansion because we love leader games.
Yeah, we're going to support no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the high to mid to high again.
Yeah.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about you? Probably, I'm going to guess,
Yeah.
Veiled Fate.
Veiled Fate, I don't know if that one is such a big surprise. I think one that I'm more excited about and happy to play is Long Shot.
Oh, yeah.
I had watched a video, I don't know if it was Shut Up and Sit Down or, watch it played or something.
Yeah.
About a horse racing roll and write game. That just seems so weird. And out of nowhere.
Right.
Like the theme of it, it's like, what? That's crazy. And now it's probably one of the most requested games that we have. Like, oh, are you coming over? Can you bring
Long Shot.
Bring horse racing.
Yeah.
Bring horse race. Teach horse racing. I heard it's good. And so I've done it multiple times. And everybody is like, this is really good. And it's really fun.
Yeah. That's a good one. That surprised me as well.
Yes. Do you have any more that come to the top of your head?
I was trying to think if there's one, not that we want to highlight games we don't love, but if there's one that,
like in the opposite way?
yeah, surprised us in a downer way. And I can't really, maybe for you, for me, I had no context going into it, but for you, maybe Stardew Valley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because you liked the video.
Video game is great.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of charm and it's so relaxing and easy to play.
Yeah.
You actually would like the video game, I think.
Probably.
It's like doing chore. Like in a video, not like you love chores, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
You have a list of things to do.
Yes.
And lists are good.
An action plan.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit towards the Debbie Downer side would be the X-Men and Mutant Insurgents or whatever that is.
Yeah, the Insurrection.
The Mutant Insurrection. It's not like it plummeted in my mind, but it's just I thought it was going to be better than it was.
Okay. I enjoy that game, but I also like dice.
Yes.
I like dice games. So this one, we played it a couple weeks ago, actually, and I enjoyed it much more than I remember.
Okay, that's true. I did enjoy it when we played it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just remember when we first got it, I think I was just expecting something to blow me away like Marvel Champions, because it was a Marvel X-Men, and I knew it wasn't the same mechanically.
Yeah.
So that's not it. But it just kind of fell flat at that time.
Okay.
But, Stuffed Fables maybe, but we play that for our kids.
Yeah, I don't like that game.
Yeah, no, you hate it. I get that.
I think one that surprised me, and we'll probably end up doing a show on it, is Mystic Mischief.
Oh, yeah.
Because it seemed very simple, and it got really technical.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more to it than originally thought.
In a good way, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is just don't get caught by the librarian. And it's like, wait, there's a lot going on, but there's not. It's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot more than I thought it would be.
That's true. That was a one we played a few weeks ago, and it surprised me as well.
Yeah.
So let us know any games that surprised you one way or the other, or
Yes.
perhaps took you on the roller coaster of surprises.
Yes, the Fort roller coaster.
Yes. Because we know, like, part of being in the board game sphere is hype. And
sometimes the hype train is always on the move.
And sometimes the hype train doesn't live up to what your experience is. Or the opposite. Like, you have a game that you love, but no one knows about it. Or you feel like no one knows about it.
Critically not popular.
Yeah.
Kind of like the X-Men game.
Right.
Critically not popular. I will always play it. So,
yeah, that's true. You do love it. Okay. So what? Are we going to transition into wrapping up the show?
Yeah, so we should wrap up the show like we do every show.
Okay.
And ask Angela, what is she reading?
Oh, is that what we're doing every show
it's
now?
The new episode. It's the new segment you love.
Oh, yes. Okay. For real?
Sure, let's hear it. You read a lot of books.
I do. I'm reading the book, The Anatomy of Anxiety.
That sounds like a textbook.
It does sound like that. It's not a textbook.
You're secretly a doctor.
Like the Ark Nova rulebook. It's not. But yeah, it's a heavier one. Anxiety is something that I have in my life. So we have learned to live with it and coping. And so that's something I'm reading. And then the one I'm listening to is... I forget the actual name, but the tagline is Acadia to Zion, my year traveling through the national parks.
Oh, that's right. You talked about that one. And it made you want to play the board game
Parks, yeah. So this is a freelance journalist. He does some work on CBS Sunday morning.
Okay.
And he did a year traveling to all the parks.
That's really cool.
For the 100th anniversary, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's been really fun. It wasn't even recommended to me or anything. I think I saw it just in a magazine one time, and I was like, oh, I should get that book.
Yeah.
So it popped up on my holds, and I was like, all right, we're listening to the Parks book.
How much do you want to buy an RV and go to all the parks?
Ooh, buy the RV? I don't want to buy it.
I mean,
but I would like to be...
this is just a fun hypothetical.
Yeah, it would be fun. I don't want to drive the RV, though.
I don't want to drive a huge RV, but I'll drive it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you do things you hate for the people you love.
I know, Christian. But I also don't want to kill them in a giant bus RV that I crash.
Yeah, it's definitely given me the itch to visit some national parks.
Yep. Cool.
Well... What is bringing you joy outside of games, Christian?
Bringing me joy. So this is going to be very repetitive from previous episodes.
Marvel Snap?
Marvel Snap. I can't stop playing it. Zach, my boy in New Zealand, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't. I don't know. I can't stop playing it. It's like a card game, but it's on my phone, and I hate phone games, but I can't stop playing it. So this is where we are.
I think our kids are now being like, is Dad snapping?
Yeah, he's like, is he playing that game again? And it's dangerous because the matches are only like a minute, 2 minutes tops. And in other card games on your phone, it's like 30-minute match. I don't want to sit and do that for 30 minutes.
No.
Like Hearthstone. It's like, I don't want to. But in this one, it's like, you know what? If I lose, whatever. It's 2 minutes. I get some XP. I get some new cards. It's great.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that a lot, maybe too much. And then I think I mentioned records a while ago. Should be getting some of the records that I ordered over the summer in the next couple weeks. So I'm excited to get those and listen to them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Boom. I also might be doing a repeat.
What's yours?
I'm not sure.
What's bringing you joy?
We should probably log what we say.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
joy.
like it's a current event thing. It's not like, well, in December 2012,
this brought me joy.
Coffee brought me joy, but it can't anymore.
Okay, well, if I've done this one before, apologies, but this week, my weighted blanket has been bringing me much joy.
Because of the quality of sleep or quantity of sleep?
Quality, and quantity.
Sure.
But yeah, quality of sleep is so good. And like I guess I just mentioned, anxiety is my friend. So that has been proven to help people with anxiety. It's just like a warm hug, and I just sleep so well.
Yeah, it's like you're in a little like cocoon.
I am.
Because like I can't feel you in bed because you have this big like sheet over you that
It's my armor.
it's like armor. It's like, well, I think she's under there. I don't know.
Somewhere. Yes. Yeah. So that's been my bringing me joy outside of board games.
Well, it's good.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could wear a weighted blanket, like wear it around.
Like a thunder jacket for dogs.
Yes, but for me.
Well, you could maybe get like a Labrador thunder jacket.
There we go. Like a really extra large dog.
Yeah. It could work. You never know.
It would be fashionable.
It'll be great.
It'll be great.
Halloween.
Okay.
So, Ange, why don't you just tell everybody how they can get a hold of us if they wish?
Yes, we hope you wish to write us a note. Okay, you can tweet us.
Whoa. Starting with tweets.
I'm starting with tweets.
Whoa.
Married at Married Board.
At Married Board.
At Married Board. Okay. And then you can go on Instagram. We are at Married and Board. You can DM us or comment there. We
post.
We might take a little bit to respond, but we honestly love it, and we do respond. I mean, within a day.
Or two.
Or two. Or you can write us an email, hello@marriedandboard.com. You can check out our website, marriedandboard.com, and there's a form filler there. So, yeah, any of those ways are wonderful.
Let us know what games surprised you. Let us know what you've been playing. Have you played Ark Nova? Is it good? Is it not? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Do you want to chat Marvel Snap? Hit me up.
Christian, are you going to do an episode on Marvel Snap?
We're going to have to do a
me?
season on Marvel Snap.
I think season?
Yeah, we'll do
a whole
like
season.
We'll do like a 10-episode run of Marvel Snap. I think it could be good.
Okay, well, we're going to start planning that in the works, I guess.
I just need a co-host because you don't play this game.
No, so if you would like to audition for the co-host position...
Married and Board Marvel Snap Edition.
Oh, man. Okay, we'll see if that ever pans out. Until next time.
Never say never.
Never say never. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Board podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandboard.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandboard.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandboard. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.